GM, what's good, people? It is currently 5:15 p.m. UK time, 21st of
Or
December
quarter past midnight
2025.
in Vietnam.
Yeah, quarter past midnight in Vietnam, or if you're in Thailand or most parts of Indonesia. Welcome to another amazing episode of MySolink Sundays, which is a free weekly webinar covering everything macro, stocks, crypto, and sometimes we cover some things in the world of AI, especially to do with prompting and how to utilize AI for investing and trading to give you an edge. This is a free weekly webinar, which we do every single Sunday, 5 p.m. UK time. Check your time zones. Originally, we did this 10 p.m. UK time, but we found that people wanted it a little bit earlier. MySolink is a decentralized ecosystem of like-minded people who are interested in health, wellness, future technologies, investing, trading, generational wealth, etc. At present, we are a non-registered legal entity, though that may change in the future. So there is no co-founder, there is no CEO. We're just a couple of homies who like putting out free information online because that's what we feel is the right thing to do. Before we get into it, please note that nothing in this video is financial advice. We do not intend to be perceived or received as financial advisors. If you're looking for financial or legal advice, please seek somebody who is accredited. We're actually partnered up with a very, very good financial advisor and accredited practitioner in the, I guess you could say, traditional fiat currency matrix world. He goes by the name of Tarek. Before I get into the hard data sets, I will give it over to my co-host Krog, who is going to cover some news. Do you need to share your screen or not?
No, I'm
Okay.
just going to talk about it, bro. Don't actually have a laptop right now.
No worries.
So,
Krog out in Vietnam.
yeah, man.
Give us some news, my bro.
Gonna do what I can.
For sure.
Right. So, this is the rundown. I'm probably just going to bop in and do the news today because I don't really trust my Wi-Fi. Um, so, yeah, this is going to be the vocal part of the stream for me. So, the one on my doorstep right now is the Thailand and Cambodia war is escalating. Fortunately, I can't really comment on this country I want to visit in the future, but ultimately, yeah, these kind of tensions aren't always good for the market. However, sometimes it can be like a bit of a safe haven when people don't know what currency to hold. And so with that, we've also got like strong tensions in the Middle East, um, which, yeah, they just keep escalating. I think Trump's carried out over 70 strikes on Syria in the last week at ISIS. And so, again, this kind of adds to that, not stability in the world. However, we've also seen the Ripple stablecoin hit 1.2 billion market cap. So it could be that the fact that people have to exchange money and do trade despite, war and things and blockages, stuff like that. And so maybe that could be something kind of driving stablecoin value, so that um, yeah, these countries can exchange goods and services, whatever. It's not impossible as well that Bitcoin is getting sold to help fund these rising tensions. Um, but the other thing as well, definitely worth mentioning, especially with the Middle East stuff, is that it's adding to the kind of the volatility of the price of oil right now. Um, and so, and Trump has basically he's just intercepted a big oil tanker in Venezuela, and so
Damn.
there's a bit of there's like a lot of he's basically moving very very aggressively on the world stage in the last week, and yeah, these kind of this is actually none of this is really that great in terms of the stability for crypto. So yeah, that's a bit about the wars. Obviously, not very positive. The other thing Trump's done in the last week is he's put 11.1 billion on arms to Taiwan, which we could see a potential China retaliation in terms of like tariffs and the whole tariff war thing that's going on. The other thing that's bad for Trump is obviously we're seeing more Epstein files get released. There's a lot of accusations. Some have even come from Elon Musk about that, about Trump's involvement with the whole thing. And so we've got to, that's also it's not looking good for Trump right now. Like he's just moving very aggressively. Let's hope he's got a plan, but he's moving very aggressively on the world stage. And there's a lot of slander on his name in regards to the whole Epstein stuff. Um, we've just had silver at all-time highs. For me, this is just the fact that money is rotating out of conventional finance systems. So we got that going on. And then the last thing I think is worth talking about is Chile have just had their election. We've had Jose Antonio win, who was the more conservative option rather than the other option, which was left wing. And he's a very pro-business guy. And so we've already seen
Hmm.
Chilean stocks are already up 3 to 5% since he's been elected, suggesting that people have a lot of confidence in the economy. The reason I mention him, obviously, Chile's not normally, someone we mention in kind of the world stage. However, they do produce 30% of the world's copper and a large amount of lithium. So having a pro business guy running that country could definitely, it could lean towards like green mining and things like this, and just like yeah, a bit of ease kind of in the crypto supply chain. Maybe negotiating good deals, lower taxes. Goodness knows yet, but they are producing a lot of precious metals, and we've got a pro business guy in. He's quite far right, and yeah, for the kind of like the furthest right they've had in a while. So it'll be interesting to see if he can set up any kind of like green initiatives and things like this in terms of the crypto supply chain, as that's definitely a talked about topic right now. It's kind of like the sustainability of everything. I guess the last thing, obviously, there's been huge floods in the world in general. Again, this kind of ties into it's like the double-edged sword of kind of like, oh, there's a lack of stability for the markets to pump, but then equally, like with all this chaos, could Bitcoin especially or stablecoin just be a bit of a safe haven as where to store your money right now when the world's pretty volatile. And especially with like these wars and stuff, like I know there was a bit of a spike with the Russia-Ukraine thing when that started kicking off. Obviously, it's still an ongoing thing. So, could it be that we have too much chaos and the markets can't pump, or maybe it's the fact that actually all the chaos kind of bridges people over to universal currencies. Um, so yeah, I think that is my little rundown of news. Um,
Thank you very, thank you very much for the rundown of news. No, that's definitely, yeah, I think geopolitically, um, the the way I think about it is there will always be an argument for and against the bullishness or the bearishness of the market, right? And there will always be a catalyst why the market should or shouldn't go up, or whether we predict it goes up or down. I think the most important thing is for every it is to be able to weigh arguments in terms of their significance. So, for example, right, if we just look at monetary policy, one of one thing that's definitely bearish for the market is the fact that the BOJ, the Bank of Japan, have you seen that they've raised the interest rates for the first time in I can't remember how long, but it's been a very long time since they've raised the interest rates, right? So I believe 0.75%. And for those that don't know the significance of the BOJ raising interest rates, for the longest time, there's been an international money glitch for the world stage. And this is something that billionaires, hedge funds, banks, governments across the world have done. And it's where they basically borrowed money from Japanese banks with extremely low interest rate, extremely low being 0.25, 0.5%. Now that interest rate is closer to 1%. And what banks, hedge funds, asset management companies would do across the world is that they would borrow money from a Japanese institution, and as soon as they got that yen, they'd swap it into dollars and then put it into something like a US bond yield. Let me just give you an example. Host. So let's go to a simple US 10-year bond yield, and then give some education out there for those that don't know the significance of Japan increasing their interest rates. Let me just go over to Grok. What I'm gonna do is, by the way, we use Grok as our LLM of choice for crypto and financial data sets. At MySlink, I recommend you try out different LLMs, but I found Grok to be superior. Tell me the
especially with
origin.
data.
Yeah, financial data, interest rates, now and the past 10 years per quarter. Let that load for a second. But basically, imagine you could get yen, get like $1 billion worth of yen. Do you have the paid subscription for Grok? No, I do not have the paid subscription of Grok. The only reason why I don't pay for it is because I have like 10 emails. And then basically, I could be mistaken, but I think Expert is the freemium version of the premium. And then you just get X amount of expert questions. And then when I run out, I just switch emails. I don't personally pay for Grok.
Or is always finding the glitch.
Yeah. Yeah, so imagine you borrow, well, say you're, I don't know, the president of a country, and then you borrow yen from a Japanese bank. Let's say you borrow $1 billion worth of yen, right? Whatever the conversion rate is at that time. The second you get the yen, you convert it to USD, and then you lock up that USD in this fixed interest yield. And for the next 2 years, you make 3.4% on the USD. In that time, the dollar's probably outperforming the yen, right? And you're only paying the Japanese bank back 0.25 or 0.5% interest. That has now been raised to, I believe, 0.75%. I'll let AI double check. Okay, so what am I seeing in the markets right now? What is important? So for those that don't know, Milk Road Macro, specifically Thomas on Markets, actually. I believe Thomas on Markets is one of the best macro guys to follow. And Thomas on Markets, who's this guy here, Thomas on Markets, he has started, or maybe he's been hired by Milk Road Macro. He used to post just on his own Twitter, but now he does often articles for these guys. The most important thing in the macro, what I see. It was with regards to the CPI print. Okay, so consumer price index was 2.7% versus the expected 3.1%. And the core consumer price index was at 2.6% versus the 3% expected. So basically much lower than expected. November inflation came in well below expectations, which is a big win for risk on assets, because if the inflation is much lower than expected, it basically gives the Federal Reserve the green light to be able to print more cash, because they always want there to be some inflation, but it has to be controlled, right? If this was the other way around, this would be bearish for risk on assets. The labor market is already weakening. This is good because, well, it's not good for the real world economy and real world Americans. However, it is good with regards to the market when the labor market is weakening, because it encourages the government to print more money, particularly the American government, to basically create more opportunities. If there's more money in the system, that's more opportunities, and that's basically more cash that is deployable for employment, which in turn is good for the markets. The only thing that could have stopped this was hot inflation, and we haven't had hot inflation. But instead, we got the exact opposite. This was the latest update on the 18th of December. Now, please bear in mind that sometimes, especially beginners, they don't understand the fact that there is time that is needed for the market to price in certain fundamental data. You can have my favorite market environment as somebody who puts fundamentals and macro first and technical second, right? We do technical analysis on this webinar, but I like to look at macro first. My favorite thing to do, and shouts my my old mentor, Mr. Harding from Blockchain Sensei, who taught me this. The biggest money in the world, right, is in the not billions, but valued in the trillions of dollars. This is how countries operate, right? And if you think of America and China as the biggest companies of the world, right? And then you look at asset managers like BlackRock and Vanguard, they all look through things. They look at money in quarterly cycles. And I truly believe that the most efficient way to look at the market is in the midterm. Looking at the market in the long term is very difficult because there are technological and regulatory changes, and there's black swan events, and then there's things such as war, and there's things that can happen such as COVID. So it's hard to predict the long term. Predicting the short term is only makes sense with a small amount of capital. You wouldn't risk most of your net worth on like one BTC short or one ETH long or whatever, or you shouldn't, because that's not good money management. But a good way to look at money is in the midterm. So the midterm is, I would say, anything from 6 weeks to 6 months, right? What do we have a question here? So do we have a question? Oh, no, we don't have a question. So yes, the point I wanted to make is my favorite kind of environment, the time when I am most bullish on the market is when the market is fundamentally midterm bullish, but the technicals are short-term bearish. That is my favorite kind of market. Right now, this is my favorite kind of market. The kind of market where it's extreme fear and the bottom is basically nearly in. These kind of opportunities happen every 8 to 12 months, right? Let me show you guys quick technicals on Solana, and then we'll go over some more fundamental stuff. Right. I've said this time and time again, and I'm going to keep banging on about it. Right now, I think Solana is, and I've said this in a previous webinar as well, probably one of the greatest risk reward assets in the entire world right now. Let's look at the gap between opportunities, right? This opportunity here was April 2025, which is the Trump tariffs. Before then, it was September 2024. Okay, September, October, November, December, April. 8 months. There's an 8-month difference between this bottom and this bottom. April to December. What's that? That's 8 months. What is the difference between here, here, and here? Well, this was the Trump tariff crash. This here was, I can't remember the exact reason why this happened actually. I can't remember. I can't remember the exact catalyst for the market declining um, in this time period. But notice how we're basically at the price we were in September 2024. We're at the price we were in April 2025. If you look at some basic technicals, this right here, for those that don't know, in technical analysis, this is what we call a pin bar. Pin bar, candlestick. Let me show you guys. When you see something that looks like this in technical analysis, where it's a really, really short body and really, really long wicks, boom. It basically indicates, it usually indicates, this usually indicates the bottom of a downtrend switching to an uptrend. Wow, am I tripping? Or guys, I did, I just saw this candle go from green to red live on a webinar. That's fucking crazy. Interesting. I'm not tripping. This candlestick was green. It just flipped to red. Anyway, I don't know if the exact bottom is in for Solana. However, I don't think it's gonna go lower than 109. Okay, let's go over some more stuff. So yeah, this is very, very bullish for the market. Let's go back again. What else do we have? Special wheels in the fire assessment. Okay, where are we with the government 10-year yield? 4.14%. I think this is gonna, I do believe bond yield is going to continue to decline, which is obviously good for risk on assets. The structure of bond yields have been in a downtrend since the peak in October 2023. I think bonds will continue to decline, which is good for risk on assets because it means that if there's less interest produced by the bond yields, there is less reason for countries to tie up their money in bond yields and thus look for riskier assets. What was this? Okay. What did I tweet out? Give me a sec, guys. Okay, so here is an excerpt from 42 Macro. 42 Macro by Darius Dale are I guess you could say, company that publish data every single day and then do an executive summary on the markets. Okay, so this covers the same point that I've just covered about core CPI being much lower than expected, which is really good for the markets. However, the most exciting thing about this executive summary is the idea of a Santa Claus rally. Also, just to iterate that I'm not a professional financial advisor and have a similar edge that everyone else has, except the fact that I'm just more obsessed with the market than other people. This can be a lot, right? Including for myself. So you can use Grok to prompt things such as summarize this in plain English for beginner investors. Already covered CPI, but What's really exciting is that the executive summary from 2 days ago from 42 Macro has indicated a potential Santa Claus rally. So this is a common end of year stock market bounce, usually the last week of December into early January. I believe that this is going to be a very, very exciting time for those who have the ability to compartmentalize their brain from all the festive seasons. I understand people celebrate Christmas and they want to see their family, but I do think that there will be a lot of opportunities in the spot, meme coin, and leverage markets if you can lock in and catch this momentum. And I'm going to look at some individual assets as well as including some meme coins that I think could run between now and end of Jan. Okay, so there is a website called chartsinspect.com. Everything that you are looking at, everything I'm looking at here, you can look at for free. So when I'm looking at on-chain metrics, one of my favorite things to look at is short-term holder realized profit and loss. So what is defined as a short-term holder? A short-term holder in standard on-chain metrics is a holder of an asset, typically Bitcoin, that's been holding for less than 155 days. Yeah. So you go to chartsinspect.com, you log in with your email for free. I've logged in with MySlink. I make a point to show you guys a lot of information that doesn't require subscription because I do believe, most people don't subscribe to things and it's good to look at data that is freely available. So the short-term holder realized profit and loss ratio, when I go to this, I think the default is 30 days, but if I change my exponential moving average to 7 days, we can see here, in fact, let me reset this chart for you guys so you can see for yourself. So when we go to the short-term holder realized profit and loss ratio, oh, and then I'm going to change my exponential moving average to 7 days. We can see here that every time, actually, I'm going to zoom in. You don't want to look at price data from 2011, right? It's a data set that's too far back. The latest 2020, I like to have a look at. So let me just zoom in. So what do we notice here? We can basically see that much like an RSI, as we hit this red or almost go down to this, I guess you could say capitulation level, it typically signals a bottom signal. So am I calling for the exact bottom right now in BTC? Not necessarily, but are we close? Yes. As soon as I see this, let me zoom in again. As soon as I see this metric start to trend upwards, it's a confirmed uptrend. Next, we have another metric, the short-term holder sell side pressure. I've put it down to, let me go down to the 7-day EMA. Is a favorite time scale of mine. Actually, no, back to 30 days. Can't see too much there. What was I seeing? I'm sure I was seeing something. Let me just zoom into 2000. Oh, sorry. God damn. Why am I having... You are not showing me what I want to show people. Come on, Matrix, stop attacking me. Right. I can't seem to show you guys how I'd like to show you guys because it's not zooming in for whatever reason. Oh, here we are. Okay, fine. Okay, amazing. So on the flip, with this on-chain metric, it basically indicates that every time this spikes, look, spike here, bottom signal, spike here, and then it runs afterwards. Big spike here, and then it runs afterwards. Obviously, this was subject to false positives because this was still a bear market. This spike here was in the middle of the 2021 bull market when Bitcoin declined from 60K down to 30K and then back up to 60K. So I believe here, from what my eyes can see, that this is trending downwards, and the peak of this spike in terms of the short-term holder loss pressure has reached its relative peak and is coming back down, which is an indication of a bottom signal. Next, let's have a look at one of my favorite websites that I like to go to every single time we go on this webinar, and that's finance.figisolutions.net, which shows the liquidity in the Fed. We can go down, we can go back, my bad, to as early as the 16th of March 2023. And we can see here that liquidity has been in a downtrend since the start of 2024, with China's liquidity being the main liquidity driver of the market. What do I think is going to happen? Which I'm sure is going to happen with interest rates declining. This is going to shoot up, and the TGA, which is the savings account of the Fed, which has been climbing from $0.3 trillion to $1 trillion between mid 2025 and now. This is going to rapidly decline. This is going to inject, and this is going to be reflective in risk on assets. Let me just zoom in a little bit more to the start of 2025. Don't know why it's showing all weird. Go to here. Yeah, as we can see here, for most of 2025, the Fed net liquidity, so the available cash in the American system, has been declining. However, we are seeing signs of this upticking, which makes sense because they're going to drop interest rates again. Remember, we've had 3 interest rate cuts in the past 6 to 8 months in America. So I know the market has been sluggish, and I believe we are being squeezed out, including OGs. But this TGA is coming down, and this Fed net liquidity is rising. We just have to be patient. Check a few more on-chain metrics, and then I'm going to go over into technicals. This model here, which my Professor Adam, got from a paid subscription. This is a model based on the GLI, which is the Global Liquidity Index, for the 7-day lead. We can see here that the green is what this model calculates as the fair value price for BTC. As we can see, that historically speaking, every time we are significantly below the fair value, it is typically a buying opportunity for Bitcoin to then go into its fair value according to this model and beyond. So that's catalyst for Bitcoin to go up. This is another on-chain metric, the Bitcoin futures power by 30-day change. We are still waiting for this to basically climb into the blue zone, which is switching from bearish to bullish. So the bottom signal has not been confirmed on this indicator. However, we can see that we spent so long in this territory, and the longer we spend in the declining territory, the quicker the springboard to the upside will be. Okay. Next, the website called charts.checkonchain.com. I recommend you go to this website and then go to dark mode. Basically, when you get to this website, it looks like this, and then I like to switch it to dark mode. A couple of things I like to look at on this website. My favorite one out of all of them is this one here. You get it by clicking, is it P&L? 1 second. No. Supply. Yes. So again, when looking at on-chain metrics, one of my favorite things to look at is the short-term holder supply and profit. Well, anything to do with short-term holders, right? This is people who've been holding an asset for 155 days or less. I also like to call this the Rastafari on-chain indicator because it's red, yellow, and green. Typically, when this hits this red here, when it hits this line here, and 95% loss. What this line here means, right? Dotted line here, it means that once it hits, it means that 95% of people who bought this asset mean Bitcoin, in the past 155 days are in loss. This is typically a bottom signal. As we can see, we've ticked that, and then we're now climbing upwards into the orange zone. Also indicative of a bottom or near bottom signal. Close that. The short-term holder MVRV signal also has ticked its bottom as of 21st of November. Of course, the price of Bitcoin has been meandering sideways since then. Go to the 1 hour price. And then let me go to the 21st. Yeah, look at that. 21st of November, we've never been this low. The short-term holder MVRV, let me just zoom in to 2022. The exact bottom of this on-chain metric was the 21st of November 2022. That is what you call confluence, my friends. When you look at different metrics, most people just look at technicals, but I like to have a look at fundamentals and on-chain first, and technicals more towards the last. Short-term holder realized profit and loss ratio. This is basically realized loss. And this metric also bottomed out on the 22nd of November. So that's 3 confluences at the bottom is in. Why do I not think it's a bear market yet? According to this this on-chain metric called the long-term holder MVRV Z score. I don't actually know what these words exactly mean, but I can read certain datas and then basically form a consensus, right? And that's what you guys should always do. Read, do your own research. We can see that we are nowhere near these levels that have previously marked the top of previous cycles. Look, here and here. Nowhere in the cycle have we reached any of these zones. Okay. Okay, amazing. So we can see here on Bank of Japan interest rates, they are the highest they've ever been in 10 years. I think the highest they've been in 30 years. And we have to consider, even though this is not bullish for the market, what is the weight of this catalyst for the rest of the market in terms of being a bearish catalyst? Even though it's a bearish catalyst, I don't think it's enough to drag the market down. I believe the bullish catalyst of interest rates dropping in America will far outweigh this catalyst of the BOJ increasing their interest rates. Okay, so I think that's enough fundamentals and on-chain. How much battery have I got on my laptop because I don't have my charger? 25%. Yeah, let's have a look at the overall market. Let me see if I can see things through my crystal ball. Oh. So at the top of my watch list, I have some real estate indexes. iShares Global Real Estate Index Trust, SIXRE, and the SPDR Dow Jones Global Real Estate Index. Basically, this is what I'm looking for, guys. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a confirmed uptrend in these real estate indexes to basically confirm euphoria. This is pre-COVID. This is the COVID crash. And then this was the whole 2021 bull market, right? These real estate indexes have not recovered again. Pre-COVID, COVID crash, the entire 2021 bull market. All three of these real estate again, one more time, pre-COVID, COVID crash, 2021 bull market. All these indexes have not gone past their all-time high. I believe that the market is engineered for these indexes, these real estate investment trusts, to break their highs. Despite this, the S&P 500 is at all-time highs. So is the Nasdaq all-time highs. So yeah, this is one of my I guess you could say technical confirmations of euphoria not entering the market. Again, just iterate, just like with previous webinars, the ISM, the industrial something purchasing managers index. This is basically an index which shows how much is being bought by basically purchasing managers. So managers who work in imports in America, as America is the biggest consumer in the world. These three lines here represent the three previous bull markets. This crash here represents the 2008 financial crash, which was the housing bubble. Here from, I can even pull up this bull market here. 1 second. This here was the pre-dot-com, I guess you could say the dot-com wave, and then here was the dot-com crash, right? So as you can see, this has basically gone sideways since 2023, which is another confirmation for me that even though it's taken a long time, euphoria will hit the market. I'm still waiting for this to break out, which is the Chinese yuan against USD. As it costs more and more USD against the Chinese yuan, this historically has been indicative of euphoria into the market. And then, of course, we've got the copper gold ratio at historical all-time lows. When copper outperforms gold, it is typically an indication that the world is doing well, which in line with interest rates dropping, liquidity increasing, I believe that we are headed for a really great year in crypto and risk-on assets in 2026. We've got the Russell 2000. This represents the 2,000 smallest stocks in America, where the S&P 500 is the top 500 stocks. Historically speaking, when this breaks all-time high, which it's literally piercing all-time highs right now versus the 2021 Q4 2021 bull market top, this is the greatest, well, one of the greatest indicators of risk on sentiment, because if money is going into the 2,000 smallest stocks in America, this is basically the meme coin of the the meme coins of the American stock market. You know, your penny stocks, your shitters. Why is money going in to the smallest stocks in America? Because risk on sentiment is changing, but it's just taking longer than we expect. Actually, even though technically speaking, this looks like a bearish chart, I do believe that oil is going to surge. I think oil is the next asset to take everybody by surprise. Let me just go to the MySlink Twitter. I tweeted something along these lines. So check this chart. This is the oil to gold ratio, and it's hit a record low. So 0.51 grams of gold per barrel of oil. What happened when oil was this low? The last time was during the pandemic, and then we had a big oil spike. This was the COVID low. Obviously, this is the price of oil denounced in dollars, and this is the price of oil denounced in gold. So this is why we've got a double bottom here. But if you compare it against the dollar, then we're still higher than where we were uh, during COVID. Arguably, money was worth more back then because for those that don't know, the entire world money supply has increased by like 70% since 5 years ago. So I do believe oil is the next asset to shoot up, especially because um, we've had silver do a meteoric rise and basically do a 2x since March. So you know what this shows me? This shows me there is liquidity in the world and it's just being deployed in different places. But mark my words, it will drop into crypto. The money will drop into crypto, but we're just being squeezed out. Q1 2026, I think we're gonna reach BTC all-time highs. Um, Look at the past troughs and pattern is pretty consistent. These lows show up around demand shocks or financial stresses like in the late 90s, 2008, and 2020. Okay, so this was a big financial crash. That is the current backdrop. If a global slowdown is coming, the key thing is that these extremes rarely last forever. Either recession deepens and oil stays suppressed longer than people expect, or policy easing, supply risk, or recovery flips the script and oil snaps back hard. Historically, when this ratio turns, it tends to do so fast, and that's what makes this level less a resting place and more a significant sign that something is about to change. That change being the markets are going to rip before you know it, which is why you should buy cheap assets right now. Um, okay. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Okay. Uh, Amazing time to buy BTC, my opinion. Easiest 44% the world will ever see. Do I believe the bottom is in for Bitcoin? Yes, I do believe the bottom is in. I don't rule out that we could flush like lower here, but I think it is unlikely. I do have a bias upside. Technically speaking, everything seems to be following on trend. Fundamentally speaking, I'm very bullish in the market. And then I've got multiple sources from Darius Dale, 42 Macro, Michael Howell from Cross Border Capital, blockchain backer, all predicting some kind of Christmas rally, which is why I'm locked the fuck in. And I know these trenches are going to respark in the meme coin market as soon as we have some kind of bullish confirmation, which can happen any day now. I can see here on the RSI and the crypto total market cap, we're about to cross over this moving average here. We've just had a 1226 crossover on the MACD and signs of bullish momentum here, or little flickers. Halima, are you there? Halima, Halima, Halima. I want to make sure my wife is ready. Bro, can you give Halima a quick call? I want to make sure she's ready. For those that don't know, my wife likes to do a health and wellness meditation towards the end of the webinar. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, I'm gonna give Halima a quick call, make sure that she's ready, because I'm about to end my section very, very soon. Okay, give me a sec, guys. I'm gonna just make sure she's cool to do her section. One sec, guys.
Hello.
Hello, are you ready to do your section soon?
Yes.
All right, okay, cool. Can you get ready?
Yeah.
All right, okay. All right. So I think technicals are really, really good for spot accumulation. I want to give some cheeky meme coin shills. Nothing too degenerate. So, a second. What about multi charts? Okay, what do I think looks really good? All right, Uranus. I believe that the bottom is in for Uranus. Now, what is the narrative behind Uranus? Let us not forget that these guys pulled an insane stunt where was it the New York skyline? I can't remember which skyline it was. They pulled like a really big stunt. Uranus crypto. Can't even get it up. Right. Anyway, do your own research on Uranus. I'm going to show you from a technical point of view. I don't want to sit here and shill too much because I can still be wrong, right? But yeah, I think this chart has reached its capitulation low. Get my Fibonacci retracement tool. We have actually broken the red fib, which is very, very rare. If it's a meme coin with good community. I think the risk to reward for this asset is very, very high. I can see here in the RSI on the daily, we've just broken into the early signs of an uptrend. Let me see if I can go to like a 3-day time frame. Oh, yes. Oh my God. Yes. Okay, cool. So if you know me, you know that my favorite place to buy is at the bottom. Some people like riding the trend. I like to be mean reverting and try to find that bottom, that dirty, dirty bottom. If we swing back to Halloween highs, that's a 6.87x, nearly 7x on spot. So yeah, that's Uranus. Then I'm not gonna say neat. No, I won't say neat. Okay, forget Bitcoin, RIP. Troll. That's it, troll. I think I spotted something on troll. Yes, 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 yes. My eyes are not fooling me. Okay. So one of the reasons I'm fundamentally bullish on troll is because Halima, are you ready? I'm gonna give the floor to you in a second.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, amazing. So troll is one of the most classic internet memes, even way before crypto. And they have actually acquired the IP rights to the troll face meme. I see these guys, oh, and Uranus as well, to be fair, in terms of like the real world penetration for these guys, like on the street. Like I've seen this meme coin advertised in like in London in Shoreditch. It's very, very rare that I see this kind of real world penetration. Then on top of that, without any indicators, this is a classic break from downtrend to uptrend. Now, obviously, it might be too early to say, but we've got higher lows and higher highs. So it might be too early to say, but let's have a look at like risk to reward, right? What is the downside? The downside is 57%, which is obviously a lot. I'm not gonna say that's not a lot, right? But if I'm correct and saying that the bottom is in for troll, you have like a 8x potential back to October highs. At some point, the appetite for risk is going to turn on. And my favorite kind of market is this kind of market where everything's in fear. Fundamentally, the market is extremely bullish when you look at monetary policy, quantitative easing. Look at this. Let's go to the 1 year. The last time we were this fearful was Trump tariffs. The opportunity has reset itself. And oh my God, look how the exact bottom of the fear is literally the 21st or 22nd of November 2025. If you rewind this whole webinar, how many times have we looked at multiple indicators from on-chain to technical? The bottom being the 22nd or the 21st of November 2025. We are trending upwards. I know it's hard to believe, but we are going to trend upwards. And remember, candles flip green quicker than you think. Look at this generational run. 30th of July to the 9th of August, literally 9 days. 9 days, you got all these gains. So if you believe these narratives, don't necessarily have to buy Troll or Uranus, but it's the time to DCA. Anyway, forgive me if I've got 12% left of my battery. We're gonna end this webinar with a health and wealth meditation, which we do every single episode. So yeah, Halima, take the floor, and then hopefully I've got enough battery to answer any questions.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, yes, mom.
Welcome, sovereign wealth builders. This is your moment. Close your eyes and let the world fade away. Right now, in this sacred space, you are about to reprogram your relationship with money, crypto, and abundance forever. Everything you've experienced has led you to this exact moment. Let your body sink deeper into relaxation with each word I speak. Release the charts, release the fear, release every limiting belief about what's possible for you. Breathe in pure potential for 4 seconds. Breathe out all resistance for 6 seconds. As you breathe, feel your consciousness beginning to expand. Beyond your physical body, beyond this room, and beyond time itself. You are entering the quantum field, the invisible fabric where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Where your millionaire self, your multi-millionaire self, your generationally wealthy self all exists right now, waiting for you to step into that timeline. Your body becomes lighter, weightless, pure energy. You remain fully aware, fully present, absorbing every frequency at this deepest cellular level. Your subconscious mind is now wide open, receptive, ready to be reprogrammed for your unprecedented abundance. Breathe in liquid gold energy. Breathe out scarcity. Perfect. You find yourself standing at the threshold of a breathtaking digital dimension. A landscape made of pure light and data, the metaverse of wealth. This is where blockchain meets consciousness, where smart contracts merge with universal law, where your financial destiny is written in code and intention. The ground beneath you pulses with the heartbeat of Ethereum, electric blue fractals creating sacred geometry at your feet. Golden Bitcoin sun orbits overhead in celestial bodies. Your wealth centers are activating. Breathe in digital abundance for 4 seconds. Breathe out old programming for 6 seconds. A luminous space where golden Bitcoins symbols flow gently around you like fireflies. The moment your foot touches the ground, a wave of prosperity ripples outwards in all directions. Above you, the sky transforms into a living, breathing chart. Green candlesticks shoot upwards like pillars of emerald fire, breaking through resistance levels, shattering all-time highs. You hear the sacred sound of this realm. Blockchain confirmations chiming like Tibetan singing bowls. This wallet is alive, conscious, and infinitely expanding. It whispers to you, I hold your fortune, I multiply your faith. I am the vessel of your generational wealth. Breathe in infinite capacity. Breathe out all limitations. As you walk forward, a colossal structure rises before you, the temple of sovereign wealth. Its walls are made of transparent blockchain ledgers showing successful transactions flowing like rivers of light. Towering golden bulls stand as guardians, ancient, wise, powerful, their eyes glowing with the fire of the market cycles. They bow deeply as you approach, recognizing you are not a visitor, but a royalty, as one of the chosen wealth architects of this era. The temple doors open automatically, welcoming you home. Inside, reality itself bends to abundance. In the center of the temple floats a holographic flame, the eternal bull market flame, burning bright, never extinguishing. This flame represents the unstoppable force of innovation, adoption, and human evolution towards decentralization, and it burns with you. Breathe in sacred prosperity. Breathe out unworthiness for 6 seconds. A voice speaks not from outside, but from within your soul. You are ready. Receive the wealth codes. Suddenly, streams of light pour into your crown chakra, downloading, installing, and upgrading your financial operating system. As I speak each affirmation, see it encoding into your DNA, burning into your neural pathways, becoming your new default reality. Repeat them with absolute conviction. I am a wealth creator in the greatest financial revolution of human history.
I'm a wealth creator in the biggest revolution of financial history.
Crypto abundance is my birthright and my destiny.
Crypto abundance is my birthright and destiny.
I recognize generational opportunities before the masses awaken.
I recognize generational opportunity before the masses awaken.
My intuition is finely tuned instrument that guides me to winning positions.
My financial intuition is the one that guides me to winning positions.
Divine timing and strategic brilliance flows through me effortlessly.
Divine timing and strategic brilliance flows through me effortlessly.
Breathe in for 4 seconds. Breathe out for 6 seconds. My portfolio is a living organism that grows, adapts, and thrives.
My portfolio is a living organism that adapts, grows, and thrives.
I accumulate in silence and I distribute in euphoria.
I accumulate in silence and distribute in euphoria.
I am generationally wealthy.
I am generationally wealthy.
I diversify with the wisdom of veterans and I concentrate with the courage of pioneers.
I diversify with the courage of veterans and distribute with the pioneers.
I diversify with the wisdom of veterans.
I diversify with the wisdom of veterans.
I concentrate with the courage of pioneers.
I concentrate with the courage of pioneers.
My intuition protects me from scams, rug pulls, and bad projects.
My intuition protects me from scams, rug pulls, and bad projects.
My timing improves with every cycle because I learn, adapt, and evolve.
My timing improves with every cycle because I learn, adapt, and evolve.
What is meant for me will never miss me.
What is meant for me will never miss me.
What misses me was never meant for me.
What misses me was never meant for me.
I am architecting a dynasty.
I am architecting a dynasty.
My children's children will tell stories of the decisions I make today.
My children's children will tell stories of the decisions I made today.
I break generational poverty and establish generational prosperity.
I break generational poverty and establish generational prosperity.
Money flows to me from visible and invisible blockchain ecosystems.
Money flows to me from visible and invisible blockchain ecosystems.
Passive income streams multiply.
Passive income streams multiply.
The MyCellink community amplifies my wealth consciousness tenfold.
The MyCellink community multiplies my consciousness by tenfold.
I am a wealth magnet.
I am a wealth magnet.
Wealth loves me.
Wealth loves me.
Wealth is obsessed with me.
Wealth is obsessed with me.
I am exactly where I need to be.
I am exactly where I need to be.
Now place both hands on your heart. On your heart, Fadlan. It's on the left side. You should feel it. Feel your heartbeat, strong, steady, certain, and unstoppable. This is your abundance anchor. Whenever doubt creeps in, touch your heart. Whenever fear whispers, touch your heart. Whenever you need to remember who you truly are, touch your heart. And you will instantly reconnect with this frequency, this moment, this knowing. Now say with me, I am a wealth magnet.
I am a wealth magnet.
Repeat again, I am a wealth magnet.
I am a wealth magnet.
One more time, I am a wealth magnet.
I am a wealth magnet.
Feel those words settling into your bones. Breathe in your power for 4 seconds. Breathe out for 6 seconds. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll your shoulders back. Take the deepest breath you've taken all day. Take that deep breath, babe. And gently, slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. This super cycle is yours. The wealth is yours. The legacy is yours, and it has already begun. Thank you for trusting this process. Thank you for believing in yourself. And thank you for building the future. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so I've got 9% left of my battery, or 4%, but it's cool. Right, Andrew, how you doing? Any questions from yourself?
I'm good, thanks. Probably no questions. Thanks for the webinar. Thanks for running it for me, basically.
No problem. Anything you want me to have a look at?
Probably not. Are you coming to the super team? It's probably not on this Friday, right? But it's going to be the one after, I assume.
Yeah, I try to come to everyone as long as I'm in the UK. There's no super team webinar on Friday. However, I mean, there's no official link up on Friday, but if you or other people from the community want to meet up on Friday, I'm down. Clayton Hotel, man. This is my spot.
Yeah, I'll have to message Kuber about this, but yeah, I think someone was planning to meet up.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Andrew, appreciate you.
Yeah,
Everyone who's
thank you.
watching the
Thanks
replay,
again. Thanks,
thank you as
thanks to
well.
Lima as well.
You're
Thanks.
welcome.
So hopefully see you soon.
Yes, we'll
All
see
right,
you on Friday.
see you.
Fadlan, before we
Yeah,
finish,
yeah.
could you go into Pudgy Penguins?
What you mean? Just look at the chart.
Yeah, could you like explain the chart to me?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
The Pengu coin. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, this is Pengu. Okay, so
So it's just getting lower and lower.
yeah, I mean the market's not turned around, so we can't expect Pengu to. The thing is, when you invest, right, you have to see things going lower as an opportunity to either hold or an opportunity to buy more. The
Yeah.
market, Pengu will not turn around until the market has turned around. Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
look
that
at
makes
Bitcoin.
sense.
Like Bitcoin is still going sideways. The market
I
is still
can't
going
believe
sideways.
Bitcoin is it 65 grand now?
No, it might be 65 grand in pound sterling, but it's 88,000 in oh,
Yeah, it's
and that's my
65
laptop. But
grand in pounds.
yeah, I don't know the price of things in pounds, but yeah, 88,000 in dollars right now.
Should I stop recording?
Yeah, stop recording.
Okay.